Zara woke before sunrise to the quiet sounds of the city, the kind of soft morning when even the birds seemed to speak in whispers. She checked her passport, ticket, and phone for the third time, not because she doubted herself but because she liked to be careful. Her tote bag was small and tidy, a water bottle, a book, a little pouch with chargers, and a neatly folded shawl in case the cabin felt cold. She wore a simple cotton kurta and flats that did not make noise on the floor. She had a first-class ticket that she had booked weeks ago, a special gift she rarely allowed herself. She did not dress to show it. She did not need to. The taxi ride to Jinnah International was calm. The driver hummed along with a quiet radio song, and Zara watched Karachi wake up tea stalls letting out faint curls of steam, shop shutters lifting halfway, the slow glow of morning spreading across walls and rooftops. She thanked the driver and tipped him politely. He smiled and wished her a good journey. She smiled back and said she would pray for his day to be easy. It was the kind of short exchange that warms both people and then disappears into the air like the last note of a melody. Inside the terminal, the air smelled faintly of coffee and floor polish. Screens flashed rows of flights and gates. People wheeled past with small suitcases that clicked over seams in the tiles. Zara moved with the flow, relaxed but alert. She had arrived early on purpose. She liked to have time for small delays, time to breathe, time to not hurry. At check-in, the staff member scanned her booking, looked at the screen, and smiled. "First class, ma'am," she said, a little surprised, not in a bad way, just as a note in her voice. "Would you like the lounge?" Zara thanked her and said she preferred to go straight to the gate. The staff member printed the boarding pass with a careful tear and circled the seat number, then pointed toward security. Zara's line moved smoothly. A mother ahead of her struggled to fold up a small stroller, and Zara stepped forward to hold the baby bag while the mother folded the stroller with a grateful glance. The security officer checked Zara's passport and boarding pass with a nod. Trays moved along the belt, soft shoes shuffled, and the machine hummed. When it was her turn, Zara placed her tote neatly and passed through. She collected her things with practiced ease, bowed to thank the officer who returned her passport, and walked toward the gates. At the gate, a few early passengers had already formed a gentle half-circle of seats. She chose a chair near the window where she could see the aircraft tail shining in the morning light. She sent a short message to her husband, reached the gate. "All good. See you soon." She added a little heart but erased it and sent a smile instead. She loved quiet expressions more than loud ones. Then she opened her book and read the same paragraph twice, not because it was hard but because she kept watching people. She liked watching people, how they waited, how they stood up a bit too early, how they talked with their hands, how they calmed children with soft words. A junior staff member passed by and placed a sign on the desk, "Boarding in 25 minutes." The senior agent came next, a person with a crisp shirt and a voice that carried. The junior staffer started arranging retractable belts to create two lines, one for first class and priority, one for economy. Zara stood up when the sign flipped to "Boarding soon." She stepped into the first class queue with her boarding pass ready. The senior agent looked at Zara, then at her kurta, then at her tote bag. The glance lasted less than a breath, yet it said many things. The agent's chin tilted a little. "Economy line is to your right," the agent said, not unkindly, but with the firm tone of someone who expects to be obeyed. Zara smiled politely and offered her boarding pass. "I'm first class for this flight," she said, keeping her voice soft and clear. "Would you please scan it?" The agent didn't take the pass. "First-class passengers use this line," the agent repeated, gesturing to the same spot where Zara stood, then pointing to the economy line as if to say, "You know where you belong." A small pause stretched. The junior staffer glanced up, unsure, then reached for the handheld scanner in a quiet, helpful motion. "I can scan for you," the junior offered. The senior agent's hand came down gently but firmly over the scanner. "No, no, I've got it," the senior said, though nothing had been done yet. Zara kept her smile, though it felt a little tight at the edges. "It will only take a second," she said. "I can wait." Still the pass was not taken. The senior agent's eyes moved past her to the next person as if the conversation were already over. "Please join the economy line," the agent said again. "If there is any issue, they will help you at the service desk." The words were neat and professional, but the message inside them was not. It said, "You do not fit the picture I have in my mind." It said, "Do not trouble me with facts when appearances are enough." Zara felt a small heat rise to her face, not anger exactly, and not fear, but that special mix of surprise and quiet sadness that appears when basic respect goes missing. She looked down at her pass to check again her name printed clearly, the big letters F and 1A, the same seat she had chosen weeks ago. She looked back up. "I have a confirmed first-class seat," she said. "Please scan the code. It will be clear." A gentleman behind her cleared his throat as if to give strength to the moment. "Maybe just scan it," he said in a gentle voice, trying not to make a scene. A woman with a little girl nodded softly from the economy line. These were not loud supporters, they were simply people who believed in simple steps. The junior staffer lifted the scanner again like an umbrella before rain, ready to help. The senior agent kept eyes on Zara. "If you have a first-class ticket," the agent said slowly, "you can go to the lounge or to the service desk to verify. This line needs to move." Zara understood that she was being asked to move away, to lose her place, to waste her time, and perhaps to miss her boarding call. Her breath came in, long and steady. She tried again, "I do not need the lounge. I only need you to scan it here. It is faster for everyone." Her voice never rose. It flowed like a small, clear stream. She waited. The senior agent shifted the sign so that it stood between them like a quiet wall. "Service desk is down the corridor," the agent said, pointing. "They will fix the booking and tell you where to sit." The words "fix the booking" landed in Zara's mind like a pebble hitting still water. There was nothing to fix. The booking was right there in her hand. Yet the pebble rippled out, bending the calm surface. For a moment, she thought of all the steps she had taken to be early, to be ready, to be polite, and she felt each step being dismissed by a single glance. A little more time passed. The queue behind her grew by a few more people, the soft shuffle and murmur of travelers joining the line. The junior staffer took a half step closer, eyes kind. "If I scan, we will know," the junior said, voice low. The senior agent did not answer that sentence. Instead, the agent looked over Zara's shoulder and called, "Next," as if Zara had already agreed to move. The gentleman behind Zara did not move. He waited, quiet but solid. The woman with the little girl shifted the child's backpack to the other shoulder and watched with patient eyes. Zara was not someone who liked trouble. She believed in doing things properly. She believed rules should help people, not trap them. She also believed that calmness had its own kind of strength. "I will wait here until you scan," she said, very gently. "Then we will both know the truth, and we will not disturb other people." The senior agent's lips pressed together. "Ma'am, if you delay this line, I will have to ask you to step aside." The request sounded official, but it rested on air. Zara followed the small gesture to the side of the desk where a narrow space met the wall. It was a place where the out-of-place were asked to wait close enough to see, far enough to be forgotten. She moved there without complaint. She did not wish to block anyone's way. She did not wish to cause discomfort to other travelers. She stood straight, neither shrinking nor swelling. She held her boarding pass like a small flag of truth. Boarding for families with young children was called. The woman with the little girl passed by and gave Zara a small, kind smile. The gentleman nodded without words as he moved forward. The junior staffer helped them scan quickly. Each quick beep sounded like the correct note in a song. Then priority boarding was called, and the senior agent raised a hand to guide the line forward. In that little side space, the air felt slightly colder, as if the air conditioner blew harder at the edges. Zara took a sip of water and let the coolness settle. She thought of the call she could make. She did not like using names or power to solve simple things. She liked simple steps. She liked truth on the screen. She liked kind words passed back and forth like a small lantern between strangers. She waited a little longer, giving the process one more chance to correct itself. A small group of travelers approached, showed their phones, and passed through. The senior agent's manner softened and hardened in turns, like sunlight crossing a fence. Every few seconds, the agent's eyes flicked toward Zara and then away. The junior staffer's eyes flicked toward Zara and stayed a little longer, a quiet apology in them, and perhaps also a quiet promise, "I see you." The announcements rolled on, now inviting first-class passengers and priority. The line thinned. Boarded passengers disappeared down the jet bridge like dots of color moving into a painting. "Ma'am," the senior agent called across to Zara without asking for her name, "if you want a chance to fly today, you should go to the service desk now. They may be able to put you on the wait list in economy, if there is a seat." The words were smooth, almost helpful on the surface, but they carried a fixed idea beneath them. Zara looked at the gate clock. She had time, but not much. She looked at the distance to the service desk, which was not far for a walk, but far in terms of losing her turn. She looked at her boarding pass once more and at the small black square of the barcode. Everything she needed was in that square. Everything true was inside it, waiting for one small beep. She lifted her eyes and tried one last time, not as a demand, but as an invitation to reason. "Please scan my pass," she said. "If it is not valid, I will walk to the desk myself. If it is valid, we will save time." The senior agent opened the mouth to speak, then closed it. For a second, the scene stood still. Then the agent shook the head, a small, decisive move. "I am not scanning it here," the agent said. "Rules are rules." Zara let the words settle. The room did not change, but something inside her did. It was not a jump or a crash. It was a quiet click, like a door unlocking in her mind. There is a time to hope people will do the right thing because it is easy. And there is a time to ask for help when they will not. She took out her phone, not quickly, not with a show, but with steady hands. She walked 2 steps farther to the side so she would not block anyone or raise a voice in the crowd. She breathed in, breathed out, and scrolled to a single name. She did not like to use it. She preferred when the world worked on simple trust. But trust needed a little help today. As she pressed the call button, the aircraft tail outside the window caught a sliver of brighter light. The gate clock ticked forward. The junior staffer turned slightly, as if feeling a change in the air. The senior agent called another passenger forward. Zara lifted the phone to her ear, calm and clear, ready to describe only the facts. Boarding was about to close. She had been told to fix her booking or accept a wait list. She held in her hand the proof that nothing needed fixing at all. Now, with one quiet call, she would ask for the simple thing that should have happened first, scan the pass and see the truth. The phone rang only once before Kareem answered, the way he always did when her name lit up his screen. His voice was warm and steady. He asked first about her, not the problem. "Are you okay? Are you sitting?" Zara smiled at the tiny habit that never changed. "I'm fine," she said. "I'm at the gate. There's a small issue." She kept her tone calm, almost sunny, because she wanted facts to lead and feelings to follow. She described everything in simple order. "I reached early. Check-in was smooth. At the gate, the senior agent told me to move to the economy line without scanning my pass. I asked them to scan. They refused. I stepped aside to not block the line. She told him the gate number, the flight number, the time on the wall clock, and the names she could read from the badges, first names only. She spoke softly, as if placing little stones in a neat row so he could see the path clearly. Karim listened without interrupting. He had a quiet way of hearing people that made them feel less alone. "Thank you," he said. "Do you feel safe where you are?" She looked around. The corner by the desk was narrow but calm. A junior staffer had just given her a paper cup of water and a tiny, apologetic smile. "Yes," she said. "I'm safe." Karim's breath was slow in her ear. "Good. I'm going to make a few calls. Stay near the gate. If anyone asks you to move far away, tell them you are waiting for a supervisor to review the scan." "Do you want photos?" she asked. She never liked pointing a camera at people, especially staff who might feel watched. "No photos," he said. "Just the exact time, names if you have them, and what is said. The system logs are what matter." She nodded though he could not see her. "What else?" "One more thing," he said. "If they ask you to go to the service desk, don't argue. Just say you will go right after the scan here. Keep your tone as you always do, kind and clear." A gentle murmur rose around her. Families were boarding. The gate printer chirped now and then. The senior agent stood very straight, eyes sharp. The junior staffer moved like quiet wind, guiding people through with care. Zara said, "I'll wait." "I'll call you back in 3 minutes," Karim said. "If I can't, I'll text you. Drink your water." She smiled at that simple instruction. "Okay." She ended the call and took a small sip. The cup left a soft ring of damp on her palm. A man in a navy blazer, the same gentleman who had encouraged a scan earlier, stepped closer to the desk. "Excuse me," he said in a mild, courteous voice, "would it help if I hold the scanner while you check the screen?" He sounded like someone offering to carry a heavy bag for a moment, nothing more. The senior agent's smile did not reach the eyes. "We have procedures," the agent said. "Please proceed if you're ready." He nodded and moved on without fuss, but his face carried the kind of concern people show when a small wrong thing refuses to be righted. A mother with a little girl in pink sandals lingered at the rope. The child pressed her face to the glass, fogging a small circle as she tried to see the plane. The mother looked back at Zara, then at the agent, then back at Zara. She didn't speak, but her eyebrows, lifted just a little, seemed to ask the room to be reasonable. The junior staffer glanced at Zara again and gave a small sign with his hand, a silent one moment. Zara's phone buzzed with a message. Karim had texted, calling regional operations. "Don't worry." A second later, he sent a short voice note. "I've reached the duty office. They're alerting the station manager and duty manager. Stay near the gate. They will be there." His voice was even, as if he were reading a recipe, not pushing against a system. She felt a thread of relief wind through her chest. Behind the desk, a landline phone rang, the old kind with a clear tone that cuts through the hum of a terminal. The senior agent picked it up, turned slightly away from passengers, and spoke in a low voice. The junior staffer kept scanning boarding passes smoothly, a little faster now but still with grace. The senior agent's shoulders stiffened, then softened, then stiffened again. The call ended. The agent put the handset down, then lifted it again to make another call. The words were too soft to hear, but the expression said enough. Something had shaken the routine. Zara did not move. She did not roll her eyes. She did not sigh. She just waited, the way a steady lamp waits on a table. Her phone buzzed once more. Karim had sent a single sentence, "They can see your booking. Manager on the way." She typed back, Thank you. I am okay. Two more passengers approached the desk. One showed a digital pass on a phone, the other carried a paper one. The junior staffer scanned both. Beep. Beep. The sound felt like a small instrument playing the right notes again. When the junior staffer had a free second, he leaned toward Zara and said very softly, "The system is working. Please don't worry." His eyes were kind in a way that made you feel you could hold kindness like a warm mug for a moment. The senior agent, perhaps sensing the shift, turned to Zara. "Ma'am," the agent said, voice a notch lower, "if your booking is valid, the service desk will fix the class and print you a new pass. You can still make the flight." The words were shaped like help but rested on the same idea as before, that the truth lived somewhere else, anywhere but the simple scan right here. Zara kept her tone even. "I appreciate your help," she said. "I will go to the service desk after we scan here, if it is necessary." She did not add "and it is not necessary." She let the sentence sit, gentle but firm. Overhead, a new announcement rolled out: "Final call for passengers seated in rows 1 through 5. The line thinned, the jet bridge echoed with quiet footsteps. A soft anxiety moved through the waiting area like a draft. People always feel it when final call floats through the air. One man checked his watch, another shifted his bag from one shoulder to the other. The little girl in pink sandals waved at the plane as if it were a friend she might not see for a long time. Zara's phone rang again. She stepped another half step into the tiny side space to keep the aisle clear. Kareem's voice was calm but quicker now. "They've confirmed your booking is first class and fully paid," he said. "The station manager is en route. The duty manager is with him. Please stay where you are. If anyone tries to move you away from the gate, ask them to note in the log that you requested a scan at the gate and were refused." Zara repeated the sentence once to remember it exactly. "Requested a scan and was refused, noted in the log," she said. "Understood." He paused for a heartbeat. "How are you feeling?" "Fine," she said, and she meant it. A little sad that kindness needed so many phone calls. He understood. "I know," he said softly. "We'll help the process learn." When she ended the call, the junior staffer was returning from a quick run to the side printer. He set fresh paper into the tray with careful hands, then looked up. "The manager is coming," he said quietly, without being asked. His words were like a small table set for two: simple, neat, exactly what was needed. The senior agent took a breath, smoothed the front of the shirt, and raised the chin again. "Ma'am, if you are not boarding now, I will have to close the gate," the agent said. "We cannot delay the flight for one passenger's booking issue." The sentence was crisp. But just then, the desk phone rang a second time, as if the building itself wished to speak. The senior agent answered. This time, the voice from the other end was easy to hear even from a few steps away: firm, professional, clear. The senior agent's face changed shape, first surprise, then attention, then a nod that carried the weight of instruction. "Yes, sir," the agent said. "Understood. We will wait." Passengers nearby noticed the shift the way people notice a cloud uncovering the sun. The small tension in the air thinned. The gentleman in the navy blazer gave Zara a quick, respectful glance, the kind that says, "You were right to ask for what is fair." The mother adjusted the strap on her daughter's backpack and whispered something that made the child smile. A few seats away, a pair of college students watched with wide eyes, whispering guesses about what might be happening. "Maybe she's famous," one said. "No," the other replied, "she's just organized." Their guess made Zara laugh inside. She did not feel famous or organized. She felt ordinary and hopeful, two things she had always valued more than any title. Another minute passed, then another. The terminal sounds went on wheels, whispers, the soft sigh of air through vents. The junior staffer checked his handheld scanner, then the main screen, then the clock, as if weaving together three small pieces of a puzzle to make one clear picture. The senior agent stood back from the desk, no longer blocking the view of the screen. Karim sent one more message: "Station manager is 2 minutes away. Duty manager with him. They will run the scan in front of you." Then he added, because he knew her heart, "No need to argue. Let the screen speak." She read the words twice, not because she needed to but because they felt like a hand on her shoulder. A man in a bright vest, the airport duty manager, appeared at the far end of the corridor first, walking at a brisk but not hurried pace. Beside him, a person in a suit carried a slim folio and wore an ID that swung as he moved. The station manager. They spoke to each other as they walked, already forming steps in their minds. The junior staffer saw them and straightened a stack of boarding passes. The senior agent adjusted the desk nameplate and stood a little taller, the way people do when they sense a change in the room. As they approached, the duty manager scanned the waiting area in one smooth glance that took in everything: the shrinking line, the time on the wall clock, the open jet bridge, the woman standing calmly to one side, the staff at the desk. He nodded to the station manager, who nodded back in a mirror motion, like two notes in the same tune. The station manager came to the desk and offered a small, professional smile to everyone within its circle. "Good morning," he said, voice clear and even. "Thank you for your patience." He looked at the senior agent for a second, not long enough to scold, just long enough to make space for the next step. Then he turned to Zara with the same small, respectful smile, and with a gesture that was both invitation and apology, he picked up the scanner. Zara did not speak. She did not need to. The moment for words had passed, the moment for the simple beep had arrived. The junior staffer stepped back to make room. The duty manager checked the screen that faced the desk. The senior agent's hands were still. Somewhere in the terminal a coffee cup clicked onto a saucer, a tiny sound that felt like a curtain about to rise. And then, exactly as Karim had promised, the manager angled the scanner toward the square of black and white on Zara's boarding pass. The little red light glowed. The scanner moved closer, steady and sure. The truth, quiet, factual, waiting, was about to fill the screen for everyone to see. The scanner made a clear little beep, the kind that sounds the same in every language. On the desk screen, lines of neat text appeared at once. The station manager read them out loud so there would be no confusion. "Passenger, Zara," he said gently. "Seat, 1A. Class, first. Status, confirmed, paid." He turned the screen a little so the duty manager could see the same truth. The junior staffer leaned in just enough to confirm the words, then stepped back again, respectful and relieved. For a heartbeat, the busy gate felt quiet, as if the whole room had taken a slow breath together. The manager looked at Zara with calm eyes. "Thank you for your patience," he said. "This is in order. Please forgive the trouble." His tone was even, not hurried, not showy, just the sound of someone who believes in facts. Zara felt her shoulders loosen a little. She nodded with a small smile. "Thank you for checking," she replied. "That is all I wanted." The senior agent stood very still. You could almost see thoughts moving like small clouds across that face. The agent opened the mouth as if to speak, then closed it again. The duty manager spoke softly, not to embarrass anyone. "Let us print a fresh copy for the passenger," he said, "and note the scan in the log." He was not sharp. He was precise. The junior staffer reached for the printer and pressed two keys. A clean boarding pass slid out with a soft, friendly sound. He checked the seat and name, circled the 1A, and handed it to Zara with both hands, the way you give someone a letter that matters. A gentle ripple moved through the small group of people who had watched. The gentleman in the navy blazer gave one short nod, as if placing a full stop at the end of a sentence that had finally finished. The mother in the economy line smiled at Zara and squeezed her daughter's hand. The little girl waved, pleased to see a puzzle solved. It was not a loud moment. It was a good, quiet one. The station manager turned to the senior agent with a steady look. Please record the refusal to scan and the confirmed outcome, he said. Also record that the passenger asked to verify at the gate. The senior agent typed, eyes on the screen. The duty manager added, and note the assistance by the junior colleague. He used the junior staffer's name clearly, on purpose, and the junior staffer's ears seemed to stand a little taller, like small sails catching a kind wind. Ma'am, the station manager said to Zara, you are boarding now if you wish. We will hold the gate for a moment. His hand made a small, open gesture toward the jet bridge. Zara looked at the clock and then at the line, which was short now. Thank you, she said. May I say one small thing before I go? He nodded at once. Of course. She kept her voice gentle. Please teach everyone to verify first. It saves time and protects dignity. A scan takes 1 second and changes everything. The station manager bowed his head a little. You are right, he said. We will reinforce it. Zara turned to the junior staffer. Thank you for your kindness, she said, using his name. Kindness was not a big thing in size, but it was heavy in meaning. He smiled, modest and proud at the same time. Safe journey, he said. Then he stepped back to serve the next person with the same care. As Zara moved toward the jet bridge, the senior agent looked up. For a small moment, the agent's face softened. Ma'am, the agent said, voice lower now, I apologize for the delay. It was not a long speech. It did not try to fix the past with many words. It was simple and direct, and for that reason it felt true. Zara met the agent's eyes and nodded. Thank you, she replied. I hope the day gets easier. There was no sting in her words, only a wish for better steps. The jet bridge was cool and a little echoing, the kind of hallway that makes footsteps sound polite. At the aircraft door, a cabin crew member greeted her with a warm smile that felt like a soft blanket. Welcome, Miss Zara, she said, reading the name and saying it with care. We are happy to have you. Her voice was bright and calm at the same time, a tone that settles people without effort. Another crew member took Zara's tote and placed it on the small shelf beside her seat as if it were a precious book. Seat 1A felt like a small, well-planned room. There was a wide window, a side table with space for a notebook and a cup, a soft headrest that looked like a folded cloud, and a thoughtful little light you could bend with 2 fingers to shine on a page. A folded blanket waited like a friendly promise. Zara ran her hand along the armrest, feeling the smooth curve. Not long ago, this seat had felt like a far dream. Today it was simply a seat, earned and ready. A crew member offered a tray with welcome drinks. Would you like water, juice, or a small cup of mint lemonade? She asked. Zara smiled. Water, please, she said. The glass felt cool in her hand. The first sip was peaceful. She placed it on the side table and put her tote under the small shelf, leaving the shawl within easy reach. The aircraft door made a soft tone as it closed. You could sense the flight growing into its shape, checks complete, list confirmed, path ahead. Zara's phone buzzed with a text from Kareem. All set, he wrote. She typed back, yes. They scanned. Confirmed. Boarding now. Thank you. He replied at once, as if his reply had been waiting at the gate too. I spoke to the regional head and the airline's duty office. Logs and CCTV are preserved. Station manager was instructed to handle it kindly. Rest now. I'm proud of you. She smiled at the last sentence and saved the message with a small tap, the way you save a nice photo. The crew member returned and knelt slightly to be at eye level, a graceful act that made the space feel equal. Miss Zara, she said, We are sorry for any discomfort. If you need anything special, please tell me. Zara appreciated the care but did not want extra attention, she wanted ordinary respect. Thank you, she said. I am fine now. The crew member nodded with relief and offered a menu card. The fonts were clear, the choices simple. Zara chose a light option and a cup of tea later, not because of the price or the style, but because she liked small meals that let her feel the day. The captain's voice came over the speaker, warm and measured. He thanked everyone for flying and explained that there would be a short delay of a few minutes due to the final paperwork at the gate. His words were steady, like lines drawn with a careful hand. No one grumbled. The room felt calm again, like a pond after a ripple has passed. As the plane pushed back, Zara looked out of the window. The ground crew waved, the lights blinked gently on the wingtips, and the morning sun touched the metal with a polite glow. The aircraft rolled toward the runway, then paused, then moved with purpose. During takeoff, the world outside became small and orderly, like a neat map. The city's lines and shapes slid under the wing. Zara did not close her eyes. She liked to see the sky open. When the seatbelt sign clicked off, the cabin softened into a restful hum. Zara took out a small notebook. She wrote down a few things in a simple list: time when she arrived, time when she asked for the scan, the words she used, the words she heard, how long she waited, who helped, who did not. She wrote in round letters, not fast, not slow. At the end of the list, she added one more line: teach, verify first. She then drew a little box beside it and filled it in, as if it were a task already done. She thought about the junior staffer. She wanted the airline to notice such care. She wrote his name carefully and put a small star next to it. She planned to send a note later to thank him and to ask that his kindness be recognized in a concrete way, maybe with a small certificate or a training role. Good habits grow when you water them. Her tea arrived in a white cup that felt just the right weight. Steam rose in a kind curl. She added one small spoon of sugar and watched the swirl disappear. The first sip was simple and steady. It tasted like home and like a new day at the same time. She lifted the window shade a little to let the soft light share the table with her. Another message came from Kareem, short and clear. Regional HQ opened a review, he wrote. They will check the gate routine, the training records, and the call log. They want your notes when you land, only if you feel like sharing. Zara read it twice and answered, I will send calm notes. No blame, only steps. He replied with a smiling emoji that somehow still felt like his real smile. She looked around the cabin. Across the aisle, a business traveler typed on a small laptop with quiet keys. Further down, a young couple shared a set of headphones and a soft chuckle. A crew member adjusted a headrest for an older passenger with careful hands. The ordinary kindness of travel had returned, not loud, not perfect, but present. Zara closed her eyes for a minute and let the morning play again in her mind like a small, simple film. The first scan refused, the junior staffer's gentle offer, the phone ringing on the desk, the manager's voice steady and kind, the little beep, the screen showing what was always true. She felt no wish to tell this story in big rooms or loud places. She only wanted systems to work with care and people to be seen as they are, not as someone's guess. When the crew came to clear the cups, the same crew member paused. How is your tea? She asked. Perfect, Zara said. Thank you for asking. She added, and thank you for saying my name. The crew member's smile reached her eyes. Names matter, she said softly. They do, Zara agreed. The captain spoke again to announce a calm route, a fair tailwind, and an on-time arrival despite the few minutes at the gate. People relaxed further into their seats. A child's soft laugh bubbled up from economy and floated forward like a nice note. Zara took out her phone and wrote a draft message for later, addressed to the airline's customer care team. She kept it short, just like her favorite recipes. Please encourage a verify first step at gates. It takes 1 second to scan a code. It saves time and heart. Also, please appreciate the junior staffer at Gate X for calm help. Thank you. She read the draft once and saved it. Her thoughts drifted back to the senior agent. She did not feel hard toward that person. She felt a wish that the day would teach better habits. People can change, practices can improve. Maybe the agent would carry this morning into many other mornings and choose the quick scan next time, the kind words, the eyes that see a person rather than a picture. The clouds outside opened and closed like slow doors. The light shifted as the plane moved across it. Zara pulled her shawl over her shoulders and rested her head lightly on the headrest. She was not sleepy, but she let her body rest the way you let a book rest on a table between chapters. Her phone stayed in flight mode, but in her mind she could still feel Kareem's steady presence the way you feel a warm hand even after it has let go. Before the crew prepared the cabin for landing, the duty manager sent a short message through the airline app, a polite note that reached her seat screen. Miss Zara, apologies again for the earlier trouble. Please know we are reviewing the process to make sure a scan is the first step in any doubt. Wishing you a peaceful flight. The words were simple. They were also the right shape. She tapped thank you in reply. She looked out of the window one more time. The sky had that pale, clear color that makes you think of new pages. Part of her wanted to close the story right there, on that good note. Another part knew that one more chapter waited: calls, reviews, lessons, and maybe new signs at gates that said, kindly and clearly, verify, then decide. A small smile moved across her face at the thought. Change, like a journey, begins with a first step. Sometimes that step sounds like a tiny beep. The day after the flight, the airport felt like any other morning to most people. But behind the scenes, many small wheels began to turn. The duty manager wrote a short report before breakfast. He listed the time of the first refusal, the time the phone rang at the desk, the time the station manager arrived, and the time the scan confirmed Zara's seat. He added one line that mattered a lot: passenger requested scan at gate. Request refused. Verification later proved valid. He clicked send and watched the message go to regional operations, customer care, and compliance. In the airline city office, an operations lead opened the report and read it twice. He did not raise his voice. He made a list. Collect logs. Save CCTV. Speak to team. Speak to passenger if she agrees. Check training records. He sent 5 short emails, each one like a neat brick in a small, careful wall. Then he called the station manager and asked him to bring everyone together for a review that afternoon. At the airport, the station manager walked the long corridor before the meeting. He looked at the gate desks the way a tailor looks at seams. He checked screens, scanners, and printers. He spoke with the IT technician to confirm the system had stayed up the whole morning. The technician opened a dashboard with a quiet pride. No downtime, he said. Handheld scanners all online. Main terminal green. The manager nodded. Fax would be the ground they stood on. The senior agent arrived first to the meeting room, early and tense. The junior staffer came in next, holding a notebook. 2 other team members from the same shift sat down with careful backs and still hands. The station manager took a seat and kept his tone even. We will walk through the timeline, he said. We will listen to each person. We will match words with logs. We will learn. We will decide fair steps. He started with the simple pieces. The CCTV clips played without sound. The room watched the lines form, the small moments, the times when the scanner could have been used but was not. They watched the moment the station manager reached the desk and scanned the pass. They watched the small change in posture that runs through a group when truth arrives on a screen. Even without sound, the pictures said enough. Next came the system logs. The IT technician plugged in a laptop and showed the entries like lines of music on a staff. There was the time the senior agent signed into the desk terminal. There was the time the junior staffer scanned the first family boarding pass and the scanner beeped as it should. There was no system down. There was no device offline. The technician did not add opinions. He pointed to the green dots and the time stamps and let them be. The station manager asked each person to share. The senior agent spoke first. The voice was careful, choosing each word as if it might break. "I thought there was a mismatch," the agent said. "I wanted the service desk to handle it." The manager asked, "Why not scan?" The senior agent looked at the table. "I believed the system was not reliable at that moment." The IT technician tapped the screen lightly. "Logs show it was reliable," he said. "Not rude. Just true." The junior staffer spoke next. He looked a little nervous, but the words came clean. "I offered to scan. Twice," he said. "I believed it would be faster and kinder." He did not look at anyone in blame. He kept his eyes on the notes he had made: the time he offered, the time he was stopped, the moment the phone rang, the exact minute the manager arrived. His neat handwriting gave the room something steady to hold. Two other staff members shared small details that filled the picture. One had heard a bystander politely ask for a scan. The other had seen the senior agent direct Zara to the side space. Both used simple language. No heat. Just steps. At midday, a call came from regional operations. The voice on the line was measured. "Please extend courtesy to the passenger," he said. "Please gather the facts. Please avoid blame until the facts are complete. Then apply policy." The station manager repeated the instructions to the room. People exhaled. Clear instructions are a kind of safety. While the team meeting continued, customer care reached out to Zara by email. The message was short and respectful. It apologized for the trouble and asked if she would be willing to share notes from her view. It also asked permission to include her comments in the training review. Zara read the emails after lunch. She liked the simple tone. She replied that she would send a short timeline and a few suggestions. She added one line: "Please also recognize the junior staffer at the gate for kindness and steady help." Kareem received a separate note from the airline's regional head. It was not long. It thanked him for alerting the right people quickly and for keeping the conversation calm. It promised a full review and clear steps. He replied in the same tone. "We want fairness and better practice," he wrote. "No public attention. Just better steps." The rest of the week moved like a series of thoughtful pages. Human Resources scheduled one-on-one conversations with each person on the shift. The questions were direct: "What did you see? What did you do? What did you not do? Why?" The interviews were not traps. They were a way to understand which choices came from habit, which from stress, and which from misunderstanding of the rule book. Compliance reviewed the training files. Each gate agent had a record of modules completed, document checks, disability support, escalation steps, and the quick scan protocol for disputed tickets. The files showed that everyone had taken the modules, but some had taken them long ago. A note appeared in the margin: "Refresher due." Customer care looked at past feedback from the same gate. A pattern peeped through like a faint thread in fabric. Most days were fine. But there were a few comments that read, "Asked to go to desk even though barcode could be scanned," and "Felt dismissed at gate, later fixed." The pattern was small but real. Small patterns become big patterns if no one notices. Legal reviewed the contract of the vendor company that supplied some of the gate staff. The contract listed performance standards, training rules, and the requirement to follow the airline's standard operating procedures at all times. It also listed what would happen if those standards were not met. The words were not emotional. They were practical. They were there to keep ordinary mornings from turning into difficult stories. By Thursday, the airline had a clear picture. The senior agent had refused to scan more than once. The system had been working. The junior staffer had been right to offer a scan. Other staff had followed the senior agent's lead and had not stepped in. The station manager had corrected the situation as soon as he arrived. The logs and the cameras matched these points. Decisions came next, and they came with care. The vendor contract for the gate team was reviewed against the pattern of small issues and the clear rules. The airline chose not to renew the contract for that team at that station. This meant the vendor would place some staff elsewhere or let them go. The airline would staff the gate with trained employees or a different vendor moving forward. It was not a loud decision. It was a firm one. For individuals, the steps were measured and specific. The senior agent received a termination letter that used plain language. It did not shame. It listed reasons. It cited policy. It noted the choice to overrule the quick verification step and the refusal to accept a simple scan. The immediate supervisor, who had been nearby and had not intervened, also received a termination letter for failure to enforce the standard. 2 other team members were suspended for a short period with pay and assigned to mandatory retraining on return. They would shadow a trainer for 2 weeks and complete fresh modules with checks. The junior staffer, whose name Zara had noted below, received a commendation and a letter of appreciation in his file. He was also invited to help the training team draft a small kindness checklist for new hires. When the station manager told the team about the outcomes, he did it in a room with the blinds half open, letting real light soften hard news. He explained each decision with the policy in hand. He did not rush. He did not pause to invite applause or anger. He simply made space for the facts to stand where everyone could see them. After the meeting, he called Zara. He thanked her again for her patience at the gate and for her careful notes. He said the airline wanted to learn more from her suggestions. She shared 3 simple ideas: keep a Verify First sticker on every scanner, she said. Give staff a short courtesy script for uncertain cases, something like, "Let me scan to be sure, it will take 1 second." And create a small reward for staff who are noticed for kindness. The manager wrote each point down. "These are good," he said. "You have turned a hard morning into useful steps." Customer care asked if Zara wished for any public statement. She said no. She did not want her name in news or on screens. She wanted better habits at gates. She also asked if the Goodwill voucher they offered could be turned into a donation to a travelers' help group at the airport. The airline said yes. A week later, a small donation went to a local group that helps nervous first-time flyers and elderly travelers read signs, fill forms, and carry bags. The group sent a short note back with a photo of a bright table and 2 chairs, bought with the donation for their help desk. Inside the airline, the story did travel, but in the right way. It became a training case. New staff watched the short clip of the scan and read the 1-page summary: verify first. It saves time and heart. A 1-second scan can prevent a complaint, a delay, and a loss of trust. Trainers ask simple questions after the video: what would you say? Which button would you press first? How do you make people feel seen? People answered. Then they practiced. Kareem received a final message from the regional head at the end of the week. It listed the steps taken and the steps planned. It thanked him for staying private and staying constructive. He replied with 1 sentence: "Thank you for listening and acting." Then he added a second: "Please keep the junior staffer close to training, he has the right voice." The head wrote back, "Agreed." On Friday night, Zara and Kareem sat on their small balcony with 2 cups of tea. The city glowed in quiet dots. The air was gentle. They did not speak about the gate for long. They spoke about a book she had finished, a recipe he wanted to try, and a plan to visit an old friend. But at one point, He reached for his phone and read one line from an email the airline had sent that afternoon. It said, "We have updated our desk checklist, verify, then decide." Zara smiled. "Good," she said. "A small sentence can guide a long day." She thought again of Bilal, the junior staffer. She hoped he would keep his calm way even when the room was tense. She hoped someone would see him as clearly as she had and give him chances to lead. She hoped the senior agent, too, would find a better path, perhaps in a place where a fresh start could meet a new habit. The week ended not with noise but with small changes set in motion: new stickers on scanners, a draft script in training slides, a note on the wall of the back office that read, "We serve people, not pictures." It was not dramatic. It was steady. It was the kind of progress that lasts because it is built from simple steps taken by many hands. And somewhere in the terminal the next morning, a traveler stood in a first-class line with a simple tote and a quiet face. A gate agent met that person's eyes, smiled, and said, "May I scan your pass?" A second later, a small beep answered for both of them. The line moved. The day stayed light. The lesson held. Morning light fell across the airport like a soft sheet. At gate 12, a new sign stood at eye level. It was bright, friendly, and easy to read, "Verify, then decide." Under the words, a simple picture showed a hand holding a boarding pass and a small scanner making a beep. People noticed it without being told to notice. It looked like part of the room now, the way a clock on a wall looks like it has always been there. Inside the back office, a small stack of cards waited in a neat holder. Each card carried a short courtesy script for uncertain cases. The sentences were plain and kind: "Let me scan your pass to be sure. It takes 1 second. Thank you for your patience while I verify. If there's any mismatch, I'll fix it here or call a supervisor." New agents picked up the cards and slipped them into pockets. Even experienced agents kept one at their desk. The words were not magic. They were simple keys for simple doors. Bilal sat in the training room with a laptop open and a gentle smile on his face. He was nervous the first time he led a session, but he had practiced at home, reading the slides out loud to a row of empty chairs. Now the chairs were full of people. He spoke in an easy voice. He showed the short clip of the scan that confirmed Zara's seat. He did not say her name. He did not ask for blame. He asked a different kind of question: what is the fastest path to truth? The room answered together, almost like a chorus. Scan first. He clicked to the next slide, which showed the one-page case study. It listed a few lines that mattered: passenger requested scan. Request refused. System working. Scan confirmed ticket. Result, apology, review, new steps. Bilal walked to the whiteboard and drew 3 boxes with a marker. In the first box he wrote tools. In the second he wrote tone. In the third he wrote time. Then he filled the boxes with small points. Tools, scanner, screen, log. Tone, polite, clear, calm. Time, 1 second to scan, minutes saved. People nodded because the boxes made sense. He asked for volunteers to role play. A woman with bright eyes stood up to play the traveler. A tall man with a careful manner played the gate agent. They practiced the script. The beep came at the right moment. Everyone laughed a little, not to mock but to enjoy a good step done well. They did the role play twice more, each time simpler and easier. At the end of the session, Bilal handed out small stickers that said "Verify first." Agents put the stickers on scanners, on monitor frames, and even on their ID lanyards. It was a quiet wave of the same idea spreading across desks and hands. In the city office, the station manager pinned a note on a soft board. Spot audits each week, it read. 3 random checks: did the team scan first? Did the tone stay kind? Did the log capture the step? He scheduled the audits for different days and different shifts. They were not gotchas. They were like health checks, simple and regular. When an audit found a misstep, the manager did not scold. He asked the agent to repeat the process once and feel the difference. Most people corrected themselves in the next shift and did not forget again. Zara's inbox received a brief message from customer care. It had a photo attached. The photo showed the new sign and a smiling pair of agents standing beneath it. The message said, "Thank you for your suggestion. We have placed these at all city gates." It also shared a link to a short note about the donation she had requested. The Travelers Help Group had bought a small trolley, 2 simple chairs, and a bright desk lamp for their corner booth. They wrote, "This helps us welcome nervous flyers, especially elders, with calm light and a place to sit." The words warmed Zara's heart the way tea warms cold hands. A month later, Zara and Kareem planned another trip. They did not talk about the past incident as a heavy thing. They talked about luggage weight and weather and which book to bring. At the airport, Zara wore the same kind of simple clothes as before. She carried the same neat tote. At the gate, she saw the sign again, "Verify, then decide," and felt a small, clean joy. It did not shout. It rested there like a friendly guard. The line moved. A young agent greeted people with a bright good morning. When it was Zara's turn, he smiled and lifted the scanner. "Let me scan to be sure," he said, repeating the script as if it had come from him. The beep flashed. The screen showed her seat. "Thank you," he said. "All set." The whole check took less time than a breath. He had not known her history. He had not needed to. The system, the tools, and the tone carried him. On board, a crew member recognized her from a quiet note in the system that said only "previous courtesy case offer a warm welcome." The note did not give details. It did not label. It only helped the crew choose a kind tone. "Welcome back," the crew member said softly. The words were simple, and the smile was real. Zara smiled too. She liked when care did not draw a circle around a person but simply filled the room. Meanwhile, the airline's central team made 2 more changes that did not show on signs but mattered in practice. First, they added a small field in the gate software, dispute Y/N. If Y, scan outcome must be logged. The software would not let an agent move forward without noting the scan result. Second, they adjusted the performance dashboard so that teams got quiet credit for quick scans and clean logs. What you measure is what grows. In a few weeks, the dashboard showed more green dots than before. The changes traveled to other stations too. A neighboring airport, which had heard of the case in a manager group call, requested the same signs and scripts. They printed them in their own language alongside English. A week later, photos came in, the same soft fonts, the same calm sentences, the same stickers on scanners, now hundreds of kilometers away. The idea fit the new room as easily as it had fit the first one. Good habits do not need passports. Customer care created a tiny page on the internal wiki called Moments of Dignity. It was not a grand project. It was a list of low-cost, high-return steps: say the name on the pass, scan first, keep water cups handy at the desk, use the courtesy script, offer a seat to elders, ask "How can I help?" before "What is the problem?" New hires read the page in their first week. Old hands read it when they needed to remember why small things matter. One afternoon, the regional head visited the airport quietly. He did not make a speech. He walked the gates with the station manager. He stopped at the sign and smiled a little. He stood back and watched agents greet people and scan first. He asked 2 questions at every desk: "Are your tools working? Is your tone working?" Agents laughed at that, because no one had asked it in exactly that way before. They said yes to both, and when they did not, someone fixed the issue the same day. At the Travelers Help booth, an elderly couple sat on the new chairs. A volunteer poured them water and helped them read their boarding passes. "Verify, then decide," the volunteer said to a young nephew who had come to see his aunt off. "That is our new favorite rule." The nephew smiled and nodded, as if learning a small rule for life. Kareem, who had stayed out of the meetings after the first week, watched the ripple from a distance. He saw the signs during a trip and sent a short note to the regional head. "The changes are visible and calm." "Thank you." The head replied, "Thank you for asking us to do the simple things well." They left it there, both happy to let the work stand on its own feet. Bilal's work with training continued. He built a little library of quick videos: how to hold the scanner without blocking the barcode, how to angle the screen so a passenger can see without breaking privacy, how to keep eye level when explaining a fix, how to say 1 second and mean it. The videos were filmed on a phone, edited by a friend, and shared on the internal chat with tiny captions. Agents watched them during quiet minutes between flights. They were real and useful because they were made by someone who had stood at the desk and felt the clock. On a quiet evening, Zara received a card at home. It was not fancy. It had a photo of a wing against a pale sky on the front. Inside, a few staff had written short notes. "Thank you for your patience. Your suggestion helped me serve better. I taught the script to my new colleague today. I hope all your flights feel light." She read each line slowly and felt a soft warmth, the kind that does not rush. She placed the card in a simple wooden box where she kept kind words. She and Kareem went walking after dinner. The street was calm. They spoke about ordinary things: the spice for a dish, the name of a song on the radio, the small plant on the windowsill that needed a new pot. At one point, Kareem said, "Do you think the story is finished?" Zara thought for a moment. "I think the story has become many small stories," she said. "Every time someone scans first, that is a small story that ends well." He liked that answer. It made big things feel reachable. The next morning at the airport, a traveler in a simple shirt and worn shoes stepped into the first-class line. An agent smiled and lifted the scanner. "Let me scan to be sure," she said. "It takes 1 second." The beep came like a friendly tap on a shoulder. The screen showed what was true. The line moved. No one lost face. No one lost time. The agent made a note in the log. The traveler said thank you. The agent said welcome. The day went on. Some changes do not make noise. They do not trend. They do not win awards. They simply stay, like good habits, like clean floors, like fresh water in a jug. The sign stayed. The script stayed. The stickers stayed. The small audits stayed. The idea stayed in the hands that held the scanners and in the eyes that met other eyes with respect. Zara traveled again months later, then again after that. Each time, check-in felt like a well-played tune. Each time, the gate felt like a fair doorway. She still carried her neat tote. She still wore simple clothes. She still liked to arrive early. She no longer felt she had to prepare for a hard moment. She prepared for a good one, and a good one came. On one of those trips, she saw Bilal at a far gate, teaching a new colleague how to angle the scanner and keep the desk tidy. He did not see her. She did not call out. She watched for a second and felt a quiet pride. Then she went on to her seat, 1A again, and opened her notebook. On a fresh page, she wrote one line, the same line she had written before. Teach, verify first. She added a small square and filled it in. The box was dark and neat. The job was never finished, but the step had become a habit. The plane lifted into the sky. The city below looked like a careful pattern. Light lay across the wing. Inside, the cabin hummed with the ordinary sounds of travel: zippers, whispers, a page turning, the clink of a cup on a saucer. Simple things, done well. She closed her eyes for a moment and let the feeling settle. Dignity had been restored not by a grand act, but by many small acts, repeated. Trust had been repaired by one clear beep, then another, then 100 more. Long after the story had moved into the past, people still saw the sign and smiled. Verify, then decide. It guided fingers and voices and choices. It guarded time and hearts. It kept mornings light. And in a world that can feel busy and hard, 1 second of care proved enough to make a day gentle.